Rockstars, Eric Andres, your Guitar Sage here, today with 7 tips, tricks, and mods for that lovely Stratocaster you just got. That's right. So, I am guitar agnostic, I'll admit it, I'll say it. I love Strats, I love Gibsons, I love them all. But today we're talking about the Strat, and I have to say that even though I'm guitar agnostic, this might be my favorite guitar. Okay, it really is. It's my favorite. This is a 1965. I got it from Gruen Guitar, and it's a beauty, and it plays beautifully, and it's my dream guitar. So let's talk about these 7 tricks, tips, and mods for the Stratocaster. Okay, so the first thing is first. You have this tremolo system, right? And a lot of times you will have a little sticker over this, and when you just get it, typically they have a spring in there that will usually fall out. That's why the sticker's there, to keep it from falling out. You can purchase these online, but it helps the bar stay in check. It helps it to stay where you get a nice, and it's not that kind of, it's a nice smooth sound instead of that warbly type of bit where your bar is hanging. So I'm going to show you a couple different techniques for this. Number one, the springs. You can get these off Amazon or wherever. Just search like Stratocaster tremolo springs on Google, and you'll find what I'm talking about here. And that would go inside, and then you wind the bar down, and that keeps the bar right where it should be. They work really nicely. Okay. Otherwise, you can use plumber's tape right here, also known as silicone tape, also known as PTFE. You know, it's a Teflon tape. Okay, Teflon. You can get this at Home Depot or wherever. It's really super thin tape. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your arm out of here and you're going to wrap this up. I'm going to show you. So you unwind your tremolo arm, and then you take your Teflon tape. So what you want to do is you want to wrap it like that a few times, break it, easy enough. Creates a nice little seal there, and then put it into the guitar. Now it's nice and smooth. You get that nice tremolo feel without all the wobble. There we go. And it still moves. All right, so we've got 1 and 2 is we've got the Teflon tape, and then we have the springs, okay? A couple ways to keep our tremolo bar in place. Now, since this doesn't have locking tuners, right? Some, like Floyd Rose and what have you, they've got the locking tuners. Guitar players have been playing with Strats and Bigsby's and Strat tremolo systems and what have you for years and still staying in tune, but it takes a little bit of work. So usually when you're playing a Strat and you've got, if you have a hang up with the tuning, it's typically at the nut. At the nut, sometimes at the bridge, but usually at the nut, and sometimes even the string tree. So there's this lovely thing called Big Ben's nut sauce. I know, laugh, laugh, laugh. But this cool stuff comes in a little tube, and it's basically like a silicone graphite combo that you use when you're stringing your guitar up. So you would put just the teeny tiniest little dab right in the nut, right in the notch of each string. Then you put the string back over it, and then you tighten the string. But you want to do it just when it's about tuned up, so all that grease stays underneath the string. Very little bit is all you need. More isn't going to help necessarily. It's going to goop up, and you don't want to do that. And any place where the string touches the guitar, like the string tree, not so much the tuners, you don't want them to slip there, but you could do it at the bridge as well. We just want to keep things moving nice and smoothly. That's going to help to keep your guitar in better tune, okay? So, Big Ben's nut sauce, that's some great stuff to get. I might put a link for it. If not, just search Big Ben's nut sauce, all right? Now, a lot of folks like to keep the back off of their Strat. I don't on this 65 because I want all the original parts to stay with this guitar, and knowing me, if I take the plate off of this guitar, it's going to end up somewhere else. And not that I'm planning on ever getting rid of this guitar, but I want that plate, the original plate on there. So it's not off on this one, but most, on all my other Strats, on all my other guitars that have tremolo systems, I take the back off. Now, why is that? Well, it makes it a lot easier to change strings. If you need to make an adjustment or what have you, you can do it very quickly. If you need to tighten the springs down, you know, anything like that, you can do it very quickly. Otherwise, you've got to take a little screwdriver out and take that guard off. Who wants to do that? That's why you see so many guitar players without the plate on there, okay? Which will bring me to my next bit about the tremolo system and about the back here. So some folks like to have a little bit of play in their tremolo system to be able to pull back on it a little bit. Now with this one, I don't have it set to do that as much. I have mine just very little bit, but some folks like the tremolo to float, which means that it can go down and up, and then some folks like it flush to the guitar. Depending on what it is that is your desire is the way you want to do this, and I'll tell you how to do it in just a moment and the pros and cons to both. So the cool thing about having a floating tremolo system is when you're using it, you can move up and down, and it creates a nice fluttering effect. It sounds nice and smooth. If you wanted to pull up on the bar, when the tremolo system is flush to the body, you're not going to be able to do that because it's literally flush against the wood of the guitar. Now, what's the benefit to that? Some people will argue that there's a little bit more sustain because you've got more connection with the guitar. That's fine. I don't know if I hear that or not. But I can tell you for sure that if you break a string with a floating tremolo system, the other strings are going to go out of tune. You got to understand how a tremolo system works is you've got about 110, somewhere around there, about 110 pounds of pull from the nut. So it's pulling the tremolo system about 110 pounds this way. Well, you need the springs in the back that are underneath the plate to compensate for that so that the tremolo sits where you want it to sit. When you break a string and you've got a floating tremolo system, you're upsetting the pull, the amount of pull that's happening, and so you're going to have strings that go out of tune. So when you have the tremolo flush to the guitar and you break a string, you're not going to have that problem. But again, there's not a right or wrong way. It's just what's right or wrong for you. If you break strings a lot on stage and are going out of tune, you might want to get that bridge flush to the body of the guitar. Okay. All right, so that's in regards to the tremolo system. What you want to do is when you take the plate off here, you're going to see springs that are attached to a mechanism that's drilled into the guitar, okay, or it's actually screwed into the guitar. So there's a plate that's screwed into the body of the guitar, and then there's a plate where all the springs are attached to the tremolo system. You can put 3 strings in there, or 3 springs, 4 springs, 5 springs, depending on how much flex you want on the bar. But bottom line, if you want that tremolo to sit against the guitar, you've got to drive those springs into the guitar a little bit more. Just dig them in a little bit more, okay? I know that sounds terrible to do, but that's basically what you're doing. A little bit, because you don't want to have to really press down in order to get your tremolo going. You just want it to be just barely against the body of the guitar, but you want it to be easy to press down on that bar, okay? So that's what we call flush against the body, or floating, you know. So, now, a lot of folks will argue that Strats sound better when they're played a half step low. Because we're used to listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan play. I don't know. Maybe so. But I found this to be true. I obviously am in standard tuning because I'm teaching so many songs on YouTube, and that's just the way that I do that. But if I had my druthers, I probably would play all my guitars a half step low because I do like the way it sounds, and it does sound especially nice on a Strat. So it's something you may want to mess with. As far as string gauge and that sort of thing, even though I'm not including this in the 7 string gauge, a lot of times thicker strings do sound better on Strats, but again, what are you comfortable with? It's got to be comfortable for you. Don't put 12s on it because Stevie did, If you can't play 12s, if you're not bending 12s, don't put 12s on your guitar. Put 10s or 8s or 9s. There are plenty of pros out there playing with 8s, okay? So it's not all about the string. Do some experimentation, but a lot of people will say this, okay? All right, we talked about the big bends nuts. So it's the last one, all right? So we got the tape, we got the springs, we got the plate off the back, we got the flush or floating tremolo system, we got the half step lower, we got the big bends nut saw. It's the last thing we need to talk about, and this is less so a mod, and it's more so something that you're going to be adding to the guitar, is a nice overdrive that complements, that's the important part, that complements a Stratocaster. These really heavy overdrive distortion pedals do not complement Strats. Single coil pickups are noisy. They can be noisy, especially when they're going through very overdriven pedals. So my suggestion for you, the two that I've had the most success with, and I've had lots of pedals, the two that I've had the most success with, there's Tube Screamer, and Stevie Ray Vaughan seemed to like that one as well, along with a ton of other Strat players. So a Tube Screamer by Ibanez or Maxon, or preferably, the old school circuitry is what you're going for. Or one of my favorite new ones is the TC Electronics Spark pedal. I'm using that one a lot, even more so than my Tube Screamer at this point. I have it set a little cleaner than I would have a Tube Screamer, but it just creates some great tone. And lastly, even though this is not included on the list, is I almost exclusively play in the 4th or 5th position on the Strat. I find that the other positions are too bright for me specifically. So if you're trying to come up with that Stevie Ray Vaughan sound, try to stick around the 4th or 5th positions on your Strat. That's what I've found to be true. Now, when it comes to these old school Strats, if you have an old school Strat, you probably understand, like on these, like this is a 65, it doesn't have a 5-way switch. These old Strats have 3-way switches, and what happened was is guitar players would be noodling around, and they'd find that sweet spot right there, right in between the two. They'd find that sweet spot right in between the two, so now that pickups 2 and 3 are engaged at the same time, and it creates that great sound, okay? So just know that on these 3-switch style pickups or switches, you can still get the 5-way sound, but you've got to listen, and you've got to get right in between the two, and it'll actually bring in both of those pickups. Pretty cool stuff, right? My friends, I'm here to help you play guitar. Please let me know what I can do. I've got tons of free stuff, over 1,000 videos with all my channels here on YouTube. Free courses, free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30 for beginners, intermediates, and yes, advanced players. I've had get in this course, folks that have been playing longer than I have, say, Eric, I left a lot of stuff on the table when I first started playing guitar. Your system, your 30 lessons there totally filled in those holes. So, that's the way I like to teach. I like to fill in those holes and make sure that nothing's left on the table. Watch that series. It's free. It's below. It's in the description of this video. YourGuitarSage.com/30. I'm also on all those social networks like Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and all those places. Give tons of free stuff out there. In fact, we're doing another live broadcast coming up here this weekend. I'll be giving away this Epiphone Les Paul along with an amplifier and thousands of dollars worth of lessons. Tons of great stuff. That's YourGuitarSage.com/live. My friends, I love my job. I can't even believe that I'm doing this for a living, just teaching people how to play guitar on the interwebs. It's a lot of fun. Please let me know how I can help. Leave your comments below. If you like this video, if anything helped you on this, please do me the favor and hit thumbs up. If you'd like to share it, that would be even more to me. Subscribe, of course, only if you like to learn about guitars. And friends, as always, be kind to all beings. Don't trust the man. Practice your guitar. I'll see you in the next video.